live. So thank you so much for joining me and others tonight. Remember, brethren, as you are joining, right, after reading the caption of the broadcast, reading the description, liking the broadcast, make sure you share it to invite your friends and your not so friendly friends and tell them all that Mayegun today. Mayegun is live. Thank you. So tonight we are starting our gist from, should we say we're starting it with a public declaration of one of the PDP's national deputy chairman of PDP. As many of you are like political watchers and those who have been following their different development in different political camps, coalition, and even the resignation of Atifku from PDP. So, part of what is kind of making so many people worried, not worried, but concerned, maybe the right word is concerned, is simply because, one, for those who believes that Obi, right, will be a different kind of president in that contraption, but he can't be president except he possibly works with some people. But the characters of the kind of people he's seen with, especially in the coalition talk, make some people to feel like, but if he becomes their flag bearer in their coalition, they might actually ignore these characters. There are people like that. Then there are others who kind of take it a little bit further and said, no, don't fall for it. Because as long as Atiku is involved, definitely, Obi is just going to be a pawn, someone they want there, so that they can absorb whatever he is bringing to their table, and possibly make it impossible for him to leave. So there are those people who are concerned about that too. I'm just kind of like pointing out some of your concerns. I may not point out yours, but here is the point. Generally, there are those who believe that the coalition talk in that their coalition talk in Nigeria is gaining momentum. Is actually gaining traction online and offline simply because Peter Obi is associated with it. There are those who disagrees. However, for those who are concerned that Obi is just being layered, they believe that he could still pull more than what they allocated to him in the 2027 charade if he continued to stand alone. Now, in all of this, nothing concrete has been sort of certified per se. However, the resignation of Atiku from PDP seemed to have, made some of them believe that they can still pretty much be very much competitive. And if they have Obi on their side and the obedient as well, why not? They have the structure. They just need the boss, and Obi won't be a bad, So there are other projections, by the way, that some of them are using in their argument. And what is that? If the coalition is a trap to lure Obi and his followers into a kind of a trap where they will no longer be that politically kind of like relevant. This is for those who are pointing to that, okay, about who is going to be their coalition candidate and all that, the blah, the blah. So PDP, who seem to be towing the path of Wike. Remember that Wike grouse with PDP, according to him, simply because Atiku breached the and South power sharing agreement by running in 2027 when a northerner, a Fulani, a Muslim, right, was just about to finish his own 8 years. So where the weakest gross with the PDP, why it went that far was because of Atiku. And if PDP is now looking into, you know what, yeah, it's going to be in the south, okay? And which part of the south? Would the Wike pick up the ticket? I mean, pick up a form so that he could become the candidate of PDP against Tinubu in 2027? Or would the PDP microzone it to the southeast, where every potential candidate from aspirant from the eastern part of Nigeria, including Obi himself, will be able to compete for it? Nobody knows. But their national deputy chairman, I think that's the way they put it, national deputy chairman, this guy said they have been in touch trying to get Obi back to their party in PDP and possibly become their flag bearer. But I don't think that's how he put it. All right. But in his own words,
Yes, it's our product. We want to get him back indeed, and because he's a very, very, great capital for any political party. The truth of the matter, if he had not gone the way he did in the last, dispensation and proved that metal to be able to generate over 6 million, in spite of the rigging and the frustration of his chances in many of the, states, Peter Obi is truly a political capital, no doubt about it, and every political party that will have the opportunity of getting him, it will be to their advantage. And certainly PDP is not losing that effort. We are also making that effort in the belief that in the fullness of time we might get him, and it will add more to the chances. Yes, it's our product.
together now. So the mention there is that almost every side is working to see how to get the obedient on board, except the APC, Egbekegbe. Because, I don't know, maybe they have been unable to make Obi an offer enough that it would have disappeared. Or maybe he's just too determined that he's not looking at their side. However, almost every other political group that kind of like really matters, right, have been toasting them. And wherever they couldn't get them, then they latch at them, call them names, and the rest of that. So the point here right now is if PDP convinces Obi to say, you know what, come back to PDP as kind of like a revival for them, what will happen to Wike? Because Wike on his own is only lifeline. I mean, is only bargaining chip for not being on the run or possibly right now locked up somewhere by Tifnumbu or from Tifnumbu, like that means be on the run from Tifnumbu or be in one prison by Tifnumbu is because his job is not just about River State and whatever rigging that took place. His real job is to ensure that PDP will never be politically competitive as long as Tifnumbu is running for any office. And he's doing the job. He's doing it, he's calling media to justify why he's been sabotaging his own party. So what so many people are now saying is that since Atiku left, since Atiku was the reason why Wike ran mad. So does that mean that Wike's madness and its value has depreciated? How? Now, Wike can go ahead and run and say he wants to be president, but he won't. He would dare not. And if he did try, if he managed to kind of like pretend to run, the effort is to ensure that, yeah, PDP remains sabotaged, not against Tifnumbu. He won't dare. He won't. So what would the PDP do with Wike when his effort is purely known? So here is my own theory. And I could be very wrong. All right? But let me give you my own hypothesis that they will say in that dinosaur train. Yeah, they say here is an hypothesis. Obi and is obedient remained an existential threat to the establishment. And somehow, eh, they are doing everything to find a place to get them swallowed, divided, and scattered before that 2027 charade. And that is why when you look at the Labour Party, the factionalization of Labour Party and the reason why they get factionalized is so ridiculous enough that except there is an external factor, eh, it is nothing that they can really resolve among themselves. Money, position, and other nonsense. Yeah, where trust has been broken and all that. I kind of feel like as politicians, they could still probably work that out, but they won't. Not when Abure, Judas Abure, and Wike have no, I mean, they're no longer wearing masks. Now, if you look at this kind of image, they knew exactly what they were doing. Sure, you get. So Abure is expected to announce the expulsion of Obi from their Labour Party. And they will use the judiciary and all of that thing, yeah? Now, what people are saying is that would Abure now give Wike Labour Party his own factional Labour Party ticket, or like Wike is doing, to hold down that place and ensure that this Obian is obedient? They won't have any settled place to actually build anything that will become more of a stronger threat than they were in their 2023 charade. Again, this is my theory, and I could be 100% wrong. But don't forget that I'm actually using, the precedents as well as the precedents of the characters involved, past and present, right? So, whatever that is, then when you look at the coalition too, Atiku will run. There are those who are saying that he's already contemplating not running, so that he would now have to give, he would not run. Then he will back Obi, right? Then he will give Obi a running mate, so as to be a statesman. But those who are closer are more or less like, no, he's not. He's not considering that at all. That in fact, he is currently working as usual to ensure that his own trusted, dependable allies are indeed positioned strategically in this their ADC. Meaning, as long as the delegates are going to choose their candidates, you know the rules, you know the game, you know how they play it. So if Obi continue with this, we know the pay, you know where that is going to be. So that simply means they may be forced again, even before that primary happens, like it happened in PDP, they may be forced again to be on the move. And that on the move in this case, in this instance, will be who is waiting again to, who is opening his arm? PDP. So PDP, that has publicly admitted that they have been in touch with him. The only offer that they could possibly be offering him is that since they heard that he's willing to do one term, 4 years, great. Let's try and bring him on and he choose, give him 4 years. Now that is just a promise. So it's like a promissory note. So don't get me wrong. That is their offer as they have made it publicly. I say, okay, so I'm now using my theory to say, because he's made an offer of, I will do 4 years. That suits the arrangement. So that will be what they are offering him. But who is offering that? And who are those who are offering that in PDP? We don't know. Is Wike one of them? Obviously not. I mean, he recently called him a liar. He called Obi a liar because Obi said it was wrong for Wike to use 39 billion naira to renovate hall. Right? So what do you think is going to be? It was also the same guy that got Obi to leave PDP. Remember how? So who is making this offer? And who are those behind that? Is Wike involved? So at the end of the day, it can't be like Omo. Somewhere in between, one of them will have to actually really mean it when they say they can give the Obi their ticket and all that to face Kolu in 2027. So nothing is that clear. And to the PDP and Atiku leaving them, they believe he's coming back. Once his current political sojourn ends in failure, he will come back to us. But at what age? Listen to the Magon.
Expected because this is not the first time, and I don't think it will be the last time. We will still expect him any moment from now.
Are you jittery? Are you jittery?
Politics is flexibility, and it's dynamic, and whatever comes around goes around.
Politicians, if they pretend that they want to answer your question, they will end up not even answering it. But they will pretend, they will kind of still say something as meaningless as that is. So to him, it's politics. Atiku will come back. What about this their ADC? If you would admit, in northern part of Nigeria, there are current sort of like agenda, I want to call it agenda or narrative. And that is the moment Bokwari is now confirmed dead and buried. There are some of them who are now pushing the agenda that Atiku will now be the new leader of northern Nigeria. Political. That's not real. I'm just letting you know that there are those who are already pushing that. And guess what? They are ensuring that from all sides, PDP, APC, right? They are building and swelling the camp of the ADC because to them, by 2027, they were going to remove Tinubu and it's going to be Atiku. So it will now take a lot. It's going to be like, okay, you know what? If that kind of narrative should become a reality, because it is politics over time, as you are seeing most of them right now laughing and jubilating that Bokwari died. So if a section of them will indeed eventually fall for this, and Atiku is kind of like, is driving on that right now. It's like he's riding on that wave. So he's presenting himself and said, you know what, I am going to replace Bokwari and I will make sure that the interest of the North, blah, blah, blah. Not that so many of them in northern Nigeria can really see through the whole charade as well. Not that they actually wanted Atiku that much. But the narrative is ongoing in northern part of Nigeria. Even this guy, Adamu Mugabe, that guy, that one that wanted to be president at the time, Adamu Mugabe. Listen, his own observation is APC, a member. But listen.
May Allah continue to raise the soul of the former president, Muhammadu Buhari, in Jannatul Firdaus. May Allah bless his soul. You see, his loss is actually tragic to Nigeria and to Africa as a whole. He was a good leader. He has done his best, and all we can do is to pray for him. But politically speaking, his demise actually created a huge political vacuum in northern Nigeria. Forget about what the sycophants are saying. There are so many sycophants that keep saying that APC is still intact in the north, our party is still having control. All those things are no longer true. And me, I don't join politics to lie or to play. I join politics in the interest of development of my country. And I always try to say the truth no matter whose horse is God. And that's what I believe in, that's what I swear within myself to do, and that's what I will stand for. We are having a very serious